Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to the Thin Crust Flopcast, episode 68. How are you all doing today? I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Monday, and that the start of the week actually will treat you all rather well. If it is real bad, then I do apologise, and I hope it actually gets better for you soon. So, as you guys may notice, I am flying solo today. That is because my lovely co-host Damo is feeling not too well, still feeling very under the weather, so I gave her the day off. So Damo, hope you rest well, and you'll obviously be back doing this with us on the next time for a very important episode in 2 more weeks. So, normally we would do the case of what have you been playing over the past couple of weeks, but seeing as we're flying solo, we'll skip that segment. Just trying to get stuff to stop going bloop at me. There we go. So, with that being said, though, folks, we are actually going to get into it really. We're actually going to be starting off with some Call of Duty news. Now, to no one's surprise how I personally feel about the game, but I can't deny, obviously, its success. However, with the recent release of Call of Duty Black Ops 6, there has been a lot of issues that have come up. I have noticed a massive amount of Steam players actually saying about loads of issues that are with the game. With the Steam, with Black Ops 6 currently being mixed on, well, having mixed reviews on Steam, with 60% of the reviews being positive. But for a game that is the price that it is and the size it is, you would expect something just a smidge bit more. So, a lot of the complaints are of how it's causing their PC to crash, how it's causing their systems not to be able to run it, how it's taking all night to basically install 250 gigabytes of the game. They're having to delete 250 gigabytes of the game, of games just to install an AIO platform for all Call of Duty, so one person saying. Spend one night downloading the game doesn't even start, follow all troubleshooting steps, game still doesn't start, refund. 10 out of 10 experience. Yeah, a lot of people are, especially on PC, are not very happy. Some are praising the game, that some of the stuff is actually good, campaign's good, with the zombies actually also being good, going with the way that it has. Some are even actually going fast to say that zombie mode is rather forgiving. It is interesting how the games come out in its current state, and there's a lot of people very not happy with it in its current state. Like, for the price that they're paying, but again, it's as I've said before, you don't buy Call of Duty on release. Don't play Call of Duty on release, because a lot of the issues that the game has will hopefully eventually get solved. It's usually a buggy mess on release, and then after about a couple of months, a lot of the issues that players faced at the beginning then actually is usually sorted for the most part. Yeah, there's still loads of issues, but it's still, the majority that's causing players not to be able to play is usually resolved. Is this something very dangerous for Call of Duty, considering the hype that they've tried to throw on Black Ops 6? I would say it is not good, but unfortunately there are going to be people that will just blindly throw their money at the game because they love Call of Duty above all else, which is fair enough. Everyone's allowed to love what they love and like what they like. Just, I feel that fans of the series should be highly objective, especially when it comes to something that they're paying extortionate amounts of money for. I do generally believe that they deserve better than what has happened. The size of it is absolutely ridiculous. No game I own, even on PlayStation, is that size. Even Final Fantasy isn't that size. Final Fantasy's, yeah, in the hundreds, as is Baldur's Gate. But there's a difference between, I would say, Call of Duty and Final Fantasy and Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate and Final Fantasy have a lot more content for it. And a lot more story, a lot more stuff put into it. Whereas Call of Duty, they just go for the details on like the guns, making sure the servers run perfectly fine, to which it doesn't. But then they also seem to force you to install something that is meant to install all of the Call of Duty games. But people aren't looking to install all the Call of Duty games. They're just looking to install this one. So again, I don't understand why they feel the need to do this. I will continuously call them out for such a bad idea. I've not seen any reports on Xbox fans having issues. That might be a case that PC. I'm only able to see like the PC fans side of things. But so far, I've not actually again seen any reports of it. So if you do play Call of Duty Black Ops 6 on console, and you have experienced major issues, please do put comments below in the YouTube section or message me and let me know the issues that you have actually had, so then I know exactly what is going on, so I'm not spreading misinformation. Because I imagine there probably is issues. It's just not being reported, and to be fair, console players deal with issues almost on a regular basis, so we just suck it up until they release a patch. Because unfortunately with consoles, we can't exactly do a lot of the stuff that PC players can. So we have to make do. Yes, I'm saying I'm a console player, but I'm also technically a PC player as well. So do I have the level of extent of knowledge that people like Damo and various others I know have? Hell no, I'm not even close. Nor would I attempt to, because I don't know. I would not want to make things worse. I know minimum how to basically keep things running, and that's about it. So, yeah. It's going to be an interesting, especially considering that a lot of people are going to be wanting, if they weren't able to get Call of Duty on release, a lot of people are going to be wanting Call of Duty for Christmas. Especially some of the younger audience, which I will say, if you are under 18, you should not play the game, period. I don't agree with you playing it, and you really shouldn't. So, just put my 2 cents in on that one. And I hope by Christmas, a lot of the issues that have plagued PC players and maybe plaguing other people on console will actually have been resolved. That is a hope and a prayer, because otherwise things are not going to exactly look good. Especially seeing as though this is the first game on the new era of which Activision Blizzard was obviously bought and is now under Microsoft control. So you would expect, something a bit better than this, considering. But we don't know how much actually they've had a hand in it, other than the fact that it's on day one Game Pass release, which I question wholeheartedly. But again, that goes with the price up of the Game Pass. So you kind of reap what you sow, really. I've got not really much I haven't already said in regards of Activision Blizzard and Call of Duty, so I'm not going to repeat myself. But But with that being said though, on to something interesting. The day before devs are back at it again. After failing to reach their Kickstarter, they are now asking their community to make maps for their new game. Yep, Fantastic have confirmed that they want players to their players to make maps for the new game, and there would be no monetary prizes for the winner. I mean, yeah, how could they actually offer like monetary prizes when they don't have any money to begin with? When it was literally not that long ago that they claimed bankruptcy. So how could they offer monetary prizes? I still think there's cheek of them to ask people to actually, make maps for their new game. But, that kind of also ties in with the environment that they said that a lot of people were reporting on. That it was a case of some people weren't even getting paid for working on the day before. Some people were working out on a voluntary basis, and some were just going to be given gift cards. So, I question what they're thinking and why. Like, obviously, last time we reported on how the Kickstarter failed. And it's like, why are you guys at it again? You started off the year not very good, and you're ending the year begging? I get, obviously, wanting to include the community on basically helping them make the game better. But it's like, for a game that might not even actually come out, and if it does, it might not even succeed, because just because players make the maps for them doesn't mean, it will actually work once it's in their hands. Knowing the community, if they do make the maps will be absolutely awesome. Knowing the community, knowing how the gaming community are, especially when it comes to creating stuff like maps, they will probably do something and it will probably be awesome. No doubt about that. Though people that actually take the time to actually make full-on maps for games, like, wholeheartedly, hats off to you. That's a lot of work to do. So if people in an unprofessional sense are able to actually do it, and do it to the point where it actually be included in the game, I think they should receive full credit, and any money that the game makes, they should just receive some form of royalties as a result for using their assets. So that's, something I think they should do, because that would then actually, go to building up their reputation. And hey Josh, how you doing, bud? Welcome back. So, yeah, in regards of Fantastic, we'll obviously be keeping an eye on them, as we have done with any bit of news, considering the massive flop that was their game. Like, the absolute disaster that was. And it's like, I question, like, why? Why make this attempt? Why put yourselves through this? Like, why not just keep a low profile and just do what work you can? I get, obviously, people have to be paid, but at the same instance, asking the community to do what you're unwilling to pay out for is kind of cheap, in essence. If the community did it off their own back, that they felt like, oh, we could do this, we could do that, and we do this, and they did it anyway, off their own back, without any provocation or asking, what have you, I think, yeah, fair enough. They decided to actually do it. They chose to do it. But I do question it, and I do ask, if anyone actually does make maps for them, make sure that you are given full credit when the game does come out, if it comes out, that you do actually get paid what you should, and that you make it very aware of what you have done, and try and make it so they cannot steal your work. Because that's another thing I'm worried about. I ask a community to do it, and then they might try and steal it. Like, Destiny was guilty of that form of plagiarism some time back. Granted, they tried to say it that the artists that they had used inspiration, and it's like that doesn't quite go. That's not how it does. That's not how we go. Like, that type of plagiarism and insult to the fan base is what quickly turns a lot of people's nose up at you. So, fantastic. You guys may want to, tweak how you guys are doing this. So, you don't screw this up again. Because guess what? Damo wanted to actually play the day before. Damo wanted to have a crack. Like, Damon wanted to see what was what, and didn't get none. So, but yeah. So from one disaster to an interesting one, and an international situation. Country bans GTA and Counter-Strike for making people commit various crimes. Yep, that's right. Another country is trying to make that argument that games are making people violent and commit crimes, more specifically the younger audience. But this is where I would kick in and say, well, the younger people 18 and under shouldn't be playing these fucking games to begin with. Period. They're 18 plus for a reason. But I digress. What do I know? I'm not a parent looking to shut their kids up by throwing a video game that they want that they clearly shouldn't be playing. What do I know? So, the country in question is, I do apologise if I butcher the name. I do apologise again. Same as whenever I try and pronounce something I'm not sure of. Tajikistan has enacted a ban on the distribution of the video games Counter-Strike and Grand Theft Auto, citing concerns about the games containing violent and immoral content. You're only just now doing this? I'm sorry, in regards of Counter-Strike, I can't exactly see the immoral content. The violent thing, yeah, but that's Counter-Strike. That's always been Counter-Strike. GTA, I get the immoral side of things, especially considering all the crime you do commit, as well as various other things involving drugs, killing, kidnapping people, and vice versa. But, not gonna lie, that's not really any different to a lot of films that come out. There are films that actually do contain violence, some immoral content as well. Yet, you don't hear about them getting banned in various countries. So, I question this. Young people and teenagers who regularly play these games come under their negative influence and commit various crimes, the ministry said, urging parents to monitor their children's activities and discourage them from playing games that promote killing, theft, and violence. Just a heads up, that's a fair amount of the market these days. That's a fair amount of the gaming market. So, you're gonna have luck trying to do that. And it's like, the article, which is from Dexerto, it goes on to basically talk about like what GTA and Counter-Strike are, and then they go on to say in August, which I wasn't aware of until I read the article when I found it, Turkey blocked access to popular gaming platform Roblox, citing worries about content that might lead to child exploitation. Reports have indicated that predators, including registered SO, have used Roblox to groom and befriend children. Additionally, some young developers on the platform have raised concerns about financial exploitation. ban triggered significant backlash in the country, with many Turkish children taken to the streets in protest and a broader online movement emerging under the hashtag #FreeRoblox, gaining support from users in other countries. More recently, in October, Kuwait, which we did cover, I believe, last time, denied approval for the release of Call of Duty Black Ops 6, leading Activision to issue full refunds for all pre-orders. The exact reason behind the decision still remains unclear. And it's like, I do question if this is going to be another wave of people I do think it could be, are we just about to enter another wave where people are literally going to say that games cause violence? No. Lack of parenting, lack of willingness to talk to their children, lack of willingness to take interest in what they're doing causes crimes, because then they're lashing out for attention, lashing out to maybe trying to survive in situations which are unaware of. Children do what they have to do in order to A, gain attention, or B, survive. Why? Because the adults around them fail to notice and do the jobs to which they should be, taking care of the children, making sure that they live in a society in which they're able to actually take care of themselves and they, are actually safe. But hey, that's a whole different political situation which we're not going to talk about. Can't really ban Saints Row, Josh, since considering the fact that the devs behind Saints Row, the studio behind it, is shut down. You can't exactly, actually ban something like Saints Row. And yeah, Saints Row does do a lot of immoral things, but it does it in the name of humour. GTA does it in the sense of just doing it. So I again question, why ban a game that, can't be banned, considering the devs no longer around. So it does worry me, like we may be on that run that we had a few years back, to which there are some people still claiming that video games cause violence, but there are people that are claiming that video games are ruining relationships. In some aspects, yeah, I would agree, depending, but that's more on a individual basis rather than as a whole. Some people saying like that grown men shouldn't be playing video games, and it's like, why? Some people say that it's okay for them to sit on like TikTok and stuff, and yet a grown man to be playing video games is wrong when they could easily be doing stuff. It's like, shut up. But yeah, it's hard not to think that we're about to hit another major media wave of video games cause violence. Video games are the root of all evil. I'm waiting for that to start coming up again. I will advocate that is not the case, and I will state that here and now, and I'm pretty sure anyone that plays video games can say that that is not the case, and that they do their best to, like, if anything, video games actually help us get away from the violence of nowadays, especially those of us that were bullied, like myself. It helped us get away from the memories of being bullied, so we could actually, imagine stories and enjoy ourselves. But, what do I know? It's not like, I try and entertain people with, stupid shenanigans on video games, But anyway, another iconic horror video game is getting a movie adaptation. This is from an article that Damo had found from Game Rant. Apparently, Red Barrel's Outlast is being adapted into a horror movie by Lionsgate. Outlast, praised as one of the scariest games, has a strong narrative that can make a compelling film. There may be potential to create a film franchise out of the Outlast series. Video game IP is a hot commodity in Hollywood right now, and another classic franchise has just been scooped up. Outlast is the next horror game set for the big screen. Outlast was released in 2013 and gained a reputation as one of the scariest games. The plot follows an investigative journalist named Miles Upshur, who looks into the Mount Massive Asylum psychiatric hospital in the remote mountains of Colorado. Once inside, Miles uncovers far more than he bargained for and must escape the hospital's deranged inmates. The game was reviewed favourably upon release and still maintains an 80 on Metacritic, and a lot of people are still very happy with Outlast, and especially since I actually recently had a multiplayer game just released, if I remember correctly. So, my thought process on this. Is it good that Outlast is getting a film adaptation? It is very good. Am I concerned that with the state of Hollywood currently as it is it probably going to get ruined? Oh yeah. I'm very concerned about that. Especially, I may be biased, but there are a lot of film adaptations of video games that are very, very crap. And not B-movie good crap. We're talking just straight up trash. Like, why did you even make that? What was the point of that? Recent Borderlands film being the most recent one to actually have that attempt and fail miserably. And by failing miserably, they only actually made $31 million at the box office when that thing cost $131 million. Not including PR, if I remember right. Good luck in regards of it. Outlast is headed to the big screen as reported by Bloody Disgusting. Wonderful name. Lionsgate is behind the development of the project. The studio is also known for producing iconic horror franchise Saw and The Descent. Roy Lee, producer of It, Barbarian and Blair Witch, is attached to produce the film. On the writing side, J.T. Petty, who has written for the Outlast series of games, is working on the script. Oh, so they're actually... Okay. So there is a chance that the game might not actually eat the biggest bag of dicks. Fingers crossed then, since they've actually got the original writer for the Outlast games. Fingers crossed. Red Barrel's creative director, David Chateauneuf, apologies for butchering that, said a film adaptation of Outlast was a nightmare come true. While Lee said the game's emerged lore has provided a perfect foundation for creating a film that delves into the psychological and physical horrors at the core of the franchise, the project is still in early development, so no cast or directors have been attached yet. It's also unclear whether the Outlast movie will start with the events of the first game or instead look to the plot of Outlast Whistleblowers, which is a prequel to the first game and follows what happens to Wayland Park, the anonymous tipster who brought Miles to Mount Massive Asylum. Should things with the film adaptation go well, there's always the opportunity to turn Outlast into a film franchise and adapt Outlast 2, which takes place in the Arizona desert with a new set of characters. The game also expanded into a multiplayer series with Outlast Trials, a prequel set in the Cold War that requires players to complete tasks while avoiding some truly monstrous killers. Outlast is just the latest in a string of horror games headed to the screen. The Until Dawn movie, an adaptation of Supermassive's interactive horror game, which is not doing well with its remaster currently, recently wrapped filming and gained a release date. Meanwhile, the following success of 2023's Five Nights at Freddy's movie, Blumhouse is about to begin production of Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and also pursuing development on a Dead by Daylight film adaptation. Konami's Silent Hill franchise is also continuing with a third movie titled Return to Silent Hill, This means that whenever the Outlast movie does end up being released, it will have plenty of competition at the cinema. Now, here's where I'm going to put my 2 cents on this again. The Five Nights at Freddy's series kind of works because it doesn't just work as a game, it also works in other aspects because there's comic books and various other things. Five Nights at Freddy's is actually got a very highly adaptive nature for it, so that's why it worked as a movie. Plus also all the people working on it as well. Until Dawn, I'm hesitant about that one. Don't get me wrong, Until Dawn when it first came out was great because it was something different in terms of the horror game franchise. Because not many other games have done stuff like that. And now there's kind of loads of games like that. So whether Until Dawn can actually work as a movie is, I would say, questionable. But the fact that they've recently wrapped up filming and getting a release date means that they clearly are happy with it. A Dead by Daylight one, there's been talks about a Dead by Daylight film for years. Whether it's actually going to happen or not, I doubt. And I seriously don't. I doubt it's going to happen, and I seriously don't think it would work. Just because of how Dead by Daylight is, I honestly, the only way I could actually see it and actually see the film ending is if where all the characters die at the end. That's the only way I can see that actually working. Because if they escape, then they just go back. It would then break continuity if they then found a way to free themselves from the never-ending cycle. It defeats kind of the purpose, really. So the fact that Silent Hill is actually getting a third movie, I imagine Damo will be happy and interested to check that out, considering the amount of stuff that Damo tries to consume in regards of Silent Hill information. So we will no doubt, obviously, when it does come out, we will no doubt hear about it from our Silent Hill representative, Damo. Reason why I say representative, because she knows way more than I do or will ever know. I think Damo's probably forgotten more Silent Hill knowledge than I'll ever know. So, from a horror movie adaptation to a horror of a release, Horizon Zero Dawn recently got its remaster, and it's got mixed reviews, and people are not happy about it, especially with the new mandatory PSN sign-in, and apparently there's a lot more visual glitches and audio bugs within the game. And I could easily go into the detail of this article, but I think it kind of brings up a question that I think at this stage of video games, I think it's safe to ask this question: when is too soon for a remaster? When is too soon for a remake? I'm going to have to say this. I think it's too soon for a remaster. And I think it's way too soon for a remake in regards to Horizon Zero Dawn. Same as I think that The Last of Us Part 1 and 2 getting remasters and remakes makes no sense. I honestly don't think they should have yet. I would have said maybe in a generation or two in terms of consoles, like not the PS6, maybe PS7 if it ever ends up that point, but at least maybe not another like 10 or 12 years. Then it would have been perfect, because then there's been plenty of time. People will then be talking about, oh, do you remember this game? Oh, this was actually really good for these reasons, blah 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 blah. It kind of makes me question what's the point of all these remakes and remasters when the games were literally only out previous generation. I have both a Horizon Zero Dawn original and the sequel to it, games. And same as I have The Last of Us Part 1 and 2. Haven't played Part 2 yet because I got spoilt out the arse on it because someone decided to basically tell me all the stuff on it when I told them not to which I tore him a new one. I do question, again, I questioned it before and I will keep questioning why. And I think more people kind of need to ask why. Why make a remaster of this? Why? Why make a remaster of a game that was only that is out on the previous gen that you can still get now? Why? Why do that to PC players? Why do that to console players? It makes no sense. It feels more like a money grab than a respect to the actual game itself. It feels disrespectful. It feels like a spit in the face to gamers and those of us who consume this. It feels like an insult to those who play these games on stream. It feels like an insult to those who love these games, who adore these games. It feels like an insult. It's... I think it's a massive mistake. And it kind of feels like they're running out of ideas very quickly and are trying to get some money so they can keep trying to make ideas to which in actuality they'll just end up repeating themselves. It's not good. It's not original content. It's rinse and repeat. It's copy and paste with a couple of things slapped in, like a mandatory PSN login, which at this point, this may be big of me to say, but at this point I don't even care anymore. That part, literally, I don't care about anymore. It's like loads of games that were on other platforms that then come over the PlayStation have to make sign-ins on. I think the only games that I've seen that have come from the Switch over onto other systems are the only ones I've seen that don't require you to sign in with a Nintendo account. I see that you have to do that with Microsoft original games. You have to do that for some of them. With PlayStation original games, you have to do that for them. It's like, why? 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 And I'm sorry, but a Horizon Zero Dawn remaster that has way more bugs and visual issues and audio bugs than the original, I'm sorry, why make a game that's worse than the original? Why remaster the original just to make it worse? You're not trying to make money at this point, you're insulting everyone. It pisses me off when I see this shit happen. I enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn when it came out. I actually enjoyed it. I actually even completed it on stream about a while back. I even completed it on stream before I got a PS5. I actually loved it. I thought it was a really, 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 really good game. It was actually well done. It took the initiative. It actually was something slightly different. It actually worked. The second one does work to an extent, but I feel that the story's kind of trying to do something different. And it's trying to put in stuff that doesn't really need to. But again, I've not played enough of it to really give my full opinion on, so I will refrain. But they've made the fact is they've made the remaster of the original Horizon Zero Dawn. What's to stop them from doing the second, like was done with The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2? What's to stop them from doing that? I question the studios. Do you guys not have any more ideas brewing? Do you guys not have anything cooked? Do you guys not have people sat there with ideas? Do you not have people sat there wanting to put ideas on the table, but are maybe afraid. Is that the case? Are people actually becoming too afraid to actually put ideas forward because corporates is going to shut them down to make a quick buck and please the shareholders? Because that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. That's why it feels like... I questioned when they announced The Last of Us Part 1 remake. Oh, sorry, remaster. As like, it got one last gen. Why make it this gen? And then Last of Us Part 2 remaster again. Why? That was literally out last gen. It had all sorts of issues, but that was for a completely different reason. Like, why? If they struggled originally, why remaster a game if it struggled originally? It literally makes no sense to me. And I'm sure to those of you who will watch this may agree. Some may actually disagree. If you do disagree with me, please, I would love to hear on why you think that I might be completely misguided on this. I would love to actually hear why you think these are actually good ideas. Please, I would love to actually hear your side of things. Because who knows, I might actually hear this and I might actually have an epiphany on what might actually be the reason behind these games being remastered as much as they are. I might actually understand something. I might see something I might have missed. So, do please let me know on what you guys think on those. Because this is coming from only one person's perspective. Oh, give me a sec. Sorry about that, folks. I had a phone call. I'll cut that bit out of the podcast. But yeah, please do question these, because I'm very... Do question why these remasters are being made, and if you have your own thoughts, please let me know. But yeah, I was actually going to actually bring us to an end on that one. But yeah, thank you everyone so much for tuning in. The next episode on the Flopcast will be on the 18th. And it may be obviously a little bit earlier because I've just heard some news and may have to change the date for it, but I will let you guys know obviously ahead of time. So with that being said, make sure you have all your personal belongings with you because we're going to be closing our doors. Hopefully on the next episode Damo will be with us. And with that being said, folks, raise your pizzas high and say it with me. Stay chaotic and live for the challenge. Bye bye.